I'm Eleanor Aykroyd. I go by Ellie to sort of all my friends. I usually only get Eleanor when I'm in trouble. I'm the DMX Readiness Project Manager for Developed Services, but within the CX strategy.
My name's Sean Muscadini. I'm a leakage inspector with Yorkshire Water. I've been with the company 13, coming up to 14 years now.
I've been at Yorkshire Water for just over 4 years, so straight out of uni, straight into Developed Services. It was meant to be a temporary office job to get a bit of experience, but I'm still here, but definitely landed on my feet and absolutely love what I do.
So my name's Mitch Pegden. I'm a delivery team leader in engineering reliability, and I've been at Yorkshire Water for 6 years.
I love going on holidays. I love my photography.
The sort of everybody that knows me knows that I enjoy a good holiday. I think the record I've done was probably about 8 in 1 year.
I was in a film with Anthony Hopkins.
I'm extremely active. I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week.
It was filmed in Scarborough.
I've got 2 dogs.
I enjoy running, and I also do a lot of cycling with my daughter.
I ended up playing a fisherman.
On the 8th of March this year, coincided with the day that I got the keys to my first house. The sale had just completed. That afternoon I went to the doctor with what I thought was just going to turn out to be sinusitis, because I had an acute earache with like shooting pains running down my neck. When I got there, the doctor said, actually, I think you've got Bell's palsy starting.
So I was diagnosed with PTSD through being abused as a child.
It was something that I'd never even heard of, let alone understood what was about to happen next. So from essentially researching it, when I got in, it's an infection in your nervous system and it causes temporary paralysis. So the whole right side of my face was paralysed.
Well, I did suffer with depression. I have attempted suicide, but then I got to thinking, is it worth it? There's got to be help out there. So I had word with the Occupational Health team, and Christine and Sue just sought the help for me.
So I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder in September 2017. Straight from school, I joined the military and served in Afghanistan in 2007 to 2008. Whilst I was in Afghanistan, 2 weeks before I'd finished my deployment, my best friend was blown up by an improvised explosive device. He stood on a pressure plate, and there was a large explosion, and the next minute I know he was screaming on the floor.
I know physically it looks better. I made a point of taking selfies throughout to sort of prove to myself that it is improving and having that image to sort of look at and compare to. But for me, if I look in the mirror, I can still see that it's wonky, and I am overly conscious for it.
When I was going through it, this Jimmy Savile thing had come to light. So everywhere I went, it come on the radio, the news boards, the newspapers, it was everywhere. It was just constant flashbacks.
As a team, we all administered first aid and got him to an evacuation point, and fortunately saved his life. The unfortunate part of that is he lost his right leg below his knee and missing a middle finger, and had massive amounts of scar tissue all over his face and his body.
Trying to make sure I'd have my hair sort of like covering it a bit, and making sure I was wearing clothes where I wouldn't stand out and I'd just blend in, and it was difficult trying to like force myself to go out, and I think that's partly why I tried to sort of force myself to come back to work. So I was only off for 3 weeks, and everybody said, should you be coming back right now? But the routine of it was what I wanted.
So when I came back into normality and left the military in 2008, people around me saw there was something not quite right with myself, but I never admitted there was anything wrong. It took 9 years for me to admit to myself that there was something wrong. All I did was keep putting whatever was wrong with me in a box away and distract myself for 9 years of this anxiety and depression that I was feeling.
It got to the stage where I was scared to get out of my van. And that wasn't me.
Mentally, it was just exhausting. I felt like I was constantly explaining what was going on, and I got to a point where I was just becoming sort of detached from it and sort of sticking to the facts, but obviously that's not healthy either. And the amount of people I have cried on over the last 6 months is ridiculous, because I'm not normally a crier.
So Occupational Health, and they've put me on the road to recovery, and here I am.
9 years after Afghanistan, we had a family bereavement, a sudden family bereavement, which sent my depression into a worse state than I could cope with. It took me another 8 months to speak to my manager and admit I had issues and I couldn't cope with them by myself.
And I think every time I've been to the hospital, it's probably spiked a down day, if not a down week or a down couple of weeks after it, because they never treat you as you. They don't see you as a full person, even though you sat in that chair like across from them. They always sort of just treat this bit of my face. And
from that, my manager referred me directly to Occupational Health, and I met with Suji 2 days after I'd been referred. This is when things started to get much better for me. Sue was a fantastic woman, and I spent an hour and a half talking to Sue and felt so relaxed, and I knew that I was in the right place for the right help.
I was getting back into a routine, and then all of a sudden, it was like the 2nd of June, the movement started coming back, and whilst that was fantastic to feel it and that physically it's recovering, and like my physical recovery's gone at one pace, but the mental side of it's gone at another, because I think, like all humans, we just keep going and keep going and keep going, and it was almost like everything had suddenly started to settle down. And I'd bought the house, moved into the house, interviewed for a new job, got the new job, kept going, and then all of a sudden, more recently, it just felt like I'd been knocked over by a tidal wave of emotion, and it was just catching up with me.
Sue referred me to a psychologist called David Bloor, who he has his own consultancy in York, and I started my treatment.
I was given EMDR treatment, where you have to sit in a room and just stare at a green light. And yeah, the memory's still there, but the emotion's gone.
So I went to see David, and I did some cognitive therapy called EMDR training, and it's basically it sounds really silly, but it's a green light that you follow from left to right, right to left, and it puts you into a sort of trance, a trance that you experience just before you're about to start falling to sleep. Your eyes start to flicker, and that's when your brain and your memory and your thoughts are most active.
The emotion just goes. You've still got the memory, but I don't burst into tears when I talk about it. You know, I could stand up in front of 100 people and tell everybody what went on without feeling ashamed.
This cognitive training is to remove your emotions from your thought process, so they're not, to remove the links between them, so they're not crossed over constantly, because my emotions and thoughts were too tightly crossed, and that's all I was thinking about and concentrating on. So I couldn't get that out of my mind, and it was taking up all of my sort of headspace, just thinking about emotions constantly.
When I did come back to work, I had Susan G, who has been absolutely amazing, She's definitely kept me smiling, kept me laughing, coming out with some wonderful one-liners that put it into perspective. But I think that's what I missed with everybody else, because initially nobody quite knew how I was going to take it if they were a bit sarcastic, whereas I can be very sarcastic myself, so normally that's like a go-to route, but they were just like, oh, we don't know if we can risk that. And whereas Sue came out with some wonderful one-liners that made me smile and sort of put it into perspective in a way.
After my treatment, it's fantastic.
Susan put me in touch with one of the work counsellors, and I went for a couple of sessions with her, and we really just talked through the different sort of emotions of it, and that it is okay to feel a bit down. And I think the hardest bit for me is accepting that it's happened.
After the treatment, Yorkshire Water ran some mental health awareness courses, which all Yorkshire Water managers went onto. I did that in 2018, and this was another fantastic opportunity to talk about my experience, and if it just helps one person in this business, then I've achieved a goal.
If there's anybody out there that's experienced any sort of trauma, be it what I've been through or what anybody else has been through, get in touch with Occupational Health and they'll put you on the right track.
I'd say definitely talk to somebody. There's been numerous times where I've felt like I've been a burden with how I've been feeling, because it's been going on for months now. But those people that care about you would want to know, and to just honestly just go and talk to friends, family, even if it's at work.
And it's hard for men to talk, especially, and I urge anybody to just either have a chat with a line manager, with a colleague, with Sue, with myself. Drop anybody an email if you are struggling. I urge you just to put your hand up.
My name's Ellie, and this is me.
My name's Sean, and this is me.
My name's Mitch, and this is me.